So Bernie Sanders goes on State of the Union. And if you didn't know, Bernie Sanders, AOC, there are the progressives who are bought on to shield for the Democratic Party, to shield for the Biden administration. They usually come on, hey, progressives typically want this, but you're the top progressive. You don't want that, right, Bernie? And they're usually fall in line. Pramila Jayapal had some hesitation in falling in line. So let's listen to Bernie Sanders, but I'll pass to you, Nick, if you had a simple preface for this video. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll be short because we've seen Pramila, who called for a ceasefire. Bernie exposed himself as a fraud he is, and it doesn't matter what he did before. You know what I mean? Like and this is what people even like Bernie say. His reputation is supporting genocide now. And Bernie putting out these tweets and videos that he thinks progressive. He like, I support a humanitarian pause. I want you guys to take a time out, eat some ice cream, take a nap, and then get back to bombing kids. And then they say this shit like it's a progressive position with a straight face. So Bernie Sanders and everyone who's complicit with this is complicit with the genocide. They can't do this thing later with like, well, we condemn Israel going after civilians. Israel is telling you guys, Israel like, nigga, we about got bombed this hospital on Thursday. There's a refugee camp we about got after. Yeah, all Palestinians are Hamas. And people like Bernie like, oh man, who could have known they about to kill kids? They are just as complicit. And you guys are going to see this unhinged, straight out APAC garbage that come out Bernie Sanders. So let's continue. Let's play the video. That's my preface.
That's a good preface.
Across the
Better than
U.S.
mine.
This weekend, large crowds of pro-Palestinian protesters took to city streets to call for a ceasefire. And on Capitol Hill Friday, dozens of activists were arrested after entering the offices of several senators. One of those senators is here with me now, Independent Bernie Sanders of Vermont. Senator, thank you so much for joining me this morning. 4 weeks ago, more than 1,400 Israelis, mostly civilians, were slaughtered in their homes and at a festival. You've been critical of Israel's response recently. How do you think Israel should be responding?
Well, this is what you got. It's, I think, clear to most people. What Hamas did, and Hamas is a awful terrorist organization, is they slaughtered 1,400 people in cold blood. Israel has a right to defend itself. But what Israel does not, in my view, have a right to do is to kill thousands and thousands of innocent men, women, and children.
That's what they said it was going to do, Bernie.
To do with that.
So, and Glenn Greenwald been doing a good job pointing this out as well, where these people are trying to, and I won't pull it up because I love how Glenn brings it up. You have these people who gave Israel the A-OK to commit a genocide, and now they're like, man, what? It saddens me that they're killing kids, right? So I was just reading a tweet from Glenn, I think it covers Bernie as well, because Ursula von der Leyen and a lot of these oligarchs like Bernie Sanders, they're just now realizing, like, man, my legacy gonna be tied with this shit forever. I can't go too far though. So they like, Israel has the right to defend himself, but now they're like, man, Israel, you got chilled with killing civilians. So just to wrap this up really quickly, that's essentially what she said. She said every life matter, whether it's Israeli or Palestinian. So what Glenn says, Netanyahu and other Israelis were crystal clear from the start about the kind of war that Israel intended to wage in Gaza. So people like Biden, this German warmonger, and I will include Bernie to this because this is who Glenn's talking about as well. Now they're seeing the carnage and they want to clear their conscience, CJ, with empty gestures like we're seeing now. What Bernie is saying here, where you shouldn't have, Israel should be going out after civilians, is an empty gesture after you materially supported their genocide. But let's video continue. But he's such a scumbag.
That attack. So the immediate concern, to my mind, is we have got to stop the bombing now. You had over 600,000 people pushed out of their homes. Where are they going? They're staying in United Nations facilities, overcrowded. There's not enough water. There's not enough food. There's not enough medicine. Not enough fuel. You got a humanitarian disaster. It has to be dealt with right now.
So, Senator,
but the issue is, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, please.
Go ahead, Donna.
Okay, so what you're saying about the lack of food and water and so forth, I think that most people in the West, certainly the U.S., believes that is because Hamas is hoarding it. And the other,
most people in the West, she said it. She's admitting that nobody else believes that nonsense. Most people in the
that's a
West.
tell.
But think about that. She is saying, Bernie, you know that that's not the narrative in the West, Bernie. You know that the narrative in the West is this, and so she's trying to bring him back. Let's see what he does.
Question is, how does
No,
Israel
it's not just
how does Israel destroy Hamas?
It's
without-
not just that Hamas is doing it. They
Yeah.
are. It's more than that. That's what Israelis' policy has been.
Okay,
So
so
it's a combination of factors.
let's get to the other point that you made, which is really the key one, which is innocent civilians dying, and they are. How should Israel destroy Hamas post-attack on these innocent civilians in Israel without hurting, killing innocent men, women, and children when Hamas is hiding behind them and putting them in danger? How does that work?
Well, that is exactly the right question to be asked the military experts, of which I am not one. But clearly, yeah, Israel has a right to defend itself. Hamas has sworn that's what its goal is to destroy Israel.
Now, to your point earlier, even when they're right, they're wrong. So you have Bernie Sanders here. This is why social democracy is so weak. It's never going to accomplish anything, Nick. So you come up to the point, we need to do this, humanitarian, and then she asks you this question, and this is your answer. Like, I don't understand. I just don't get what is the point. If you're saying they're committing a genocide, how do you not have an answer to how they should be operating so that they don't commit a genocide?
Yep.
Unless you're Bernie Sanders, who do stuff like, I don't know anything about that, which he seems to commonly say about military and foreign policy things.
Israel, they got to deal with that. But there got to be a better way than killing thousands of men, women, and children. So once again, the immediate concern is you got to have a pause in the bombing. You got to take care of the immediate disaster. Israel's got to change its strategy. Let me just say this. The United States of America provides $3.8 billion every year to Israel. We have a right. Israel can do what they want. They're an independent country. But we have a right to say, sorry, you need a new military strategy. Go after Hamas. But that means, do not kill innocent men, women, and children.
You mentioned money. There is going to be a measure before you relatively soon for the House passed more than $14 billion. And there is going to be at least some version of that in the Senate. Will you support that, or will you put conditions on it?
Well, we'll see what the bill looks like. But I think it's terribly important that as we debate that to say to Israel, you want this money, you got to change your military strategy. The other point.
So the people, Nick, who are killing babies and women, innocent people, men too, those people who are currently doing it, and you say that, Bernie Sanders, you're saying you're fine with them getting more money, even though they haven't stopped killing or committing the genocide.
And they won't. Like, he thinks he's bullshitting people. He's not. People see through this. Like, people will never forgive Bernie for this. Like, he's
terrible. He
is enabling a genocide while trying to clear his conscience and his reputation while saying measly mouth words that he hoping people don't pick up on. Oh, he called for a pause in the bombing. Like, you still want Israel to carry out their operation of eliminating Hamas when Israel outright said that Hamas equals the Palestinian people. You're not tricking anybody. Like, you are supporting Israel's elimination of the Palestinian people by supporting Israel's right to defend themselves, which they do not have. You're lying not only to support their genocide, but on humanitarian law. The occupier has no right to defend himself. What the fuck are you saying? Absolutely no right. And they have the right to bond indigenous people that live here. That is what you're saying when you say they got the right to defend themselves. Because Hamas, as I keep quoting international law, CJ, and people get mad when I keep doing it. Where the UN laid out how occupied colonized people have the right to armed resistance by their words, any means necessary. So Hamas have the right to defend themselves, not Israel by any statute or any law. So you're not even, so you, in order to appear right and morally virtue signal to the liberals, you're lying about international law. But I'll let it continue because there's a lot to say about this shit, man. I'll let it continue.
Because we have to give hope to the Palestinian people. They were living before October 7th in a disastrous situation in Gaza, 75% youth unemployment, massive poverty. And right now in Israel, you're having the Netanyahu government, an extreme right-wing government with racists aboard, trying to make it impossible for a two-state solution in the West Bank. They're killing settlers there. So what we need is the world to come together to give hope to the Palestinians. We need a two-state solution, and we need to have many of the very wealthy countries in the region, the United Arab Republic, Saudi Arabia, Qatar. They are extraordinarily wealthy.
Yes,
work
they
with
are.
the United States, work with the community in order to provide some hope and decency and freedom to the Palestinian people, which Hamas will never do.
You're right about that. They have a lot of money, and they, to this point, have not been really willing to use that money in that region.
Okay, here's the big
fellow
question
Arabs.
here.
I want to just clarify one thing, Senator, if I might. You support a humanitarian pause in Gaza. Some of your fellow progressives say that there should be a full-on ceasefire, which would require an agreement on both sides to halt the fighting. Do you support a ceasefire? And if not, why not?
Well, I don't know how you can have a ceasefire permanent.
Now, you hear what she said? Do you support a ceasefire? If not, why not? Why do you think she posed it that way instead of saying, do you support a ceasefire? If you do, why do you? Why do you think she presented it that way? This is a rhetorical question. It's because she knows what the guy's answer is going to give. She knows what his answer is to this question. She knows why she brought him on. She knows that he understands his role. And when it comes down to the bare knuckle questions like this one, he's to side with the establishment. She knows that. That's why the question is posed as to why don't you think that? Because she's already assuming. It's a tale that she already assumes he doesn't support that. So let's listen.
Ceasefire with an organization like Hamas, which is dedicated to turmoil and chaos and destroying the state of Israel. And I think what the Arab countries
Which is their right.
Understand that Hamas has.
Social Democrats are against your right to fight a genocidal terrorist state. Do you guys know how unhinged that position is? Bernie Sanders don't think you have the right to resist the state of Israel. And this is the question I posed on Twitter. If Palestinians don't have the right to resist Israel, even with armed resistance, then who does? You guys notice how the ruling class is trying to take that off the table? Bernie Sanders is working with the ruling class to take armed resistance, which is legitimate and proven to work, off the table. Because if Palestinians are not allowed to resist, then who are? If you agree with Bernie Sanders, which the majority of the right does, we might as well repeal the Second Amendment. What's the Second Amendment for? We're never justified, right, Bernie? If police came out and start killing, imagine they just start pulling black people out and start killing them, displacing them, and then we start resisting them. We're never correct according to these people, because that's what Israel did to the Palestinians.
Yes.
And I'm taking the line that none of these weak other leftists will take, because I am telling you guys, based on my life experience and my humanity, knowing how I am, if I was put through a fraction of what the Palestinians have been put through, especially in Gaza, you guys know what I'll be ready to do? I leave it open-ended.
Yeah.
So how the fuck, and then anyone who say, if they went through the same thing the Palestinians went through, and they will have any other tactic, you are a liar. You are a bullshitter. Your ancestors didn't do that. The American Revolution. Give me liberty or give me death. Give me an example of you and your people doing that before I believe you. Everyone is bullshitters on this issue except us. Except me. Except the people who are unapologetically afraid to say I'm not condemning Hamas. And there are a lot of people who are too afraid to say that, even if they're right on this issue. If you're saying you will not do the same thing they're doing, you are full of shit. That is my position. But I'll let it continue.
has got to go. So what we need right now, the immediate task right now, is to end the bombing, to end the horrific humanitarian disaster, to go forward with the entire world for a two-state solution to the crisis, to give the
This is the
Palestinian
result
people,
of the two-state solution. I just want you guys to know this is
Senator,
the result
Democratic
of the, what do we have the one-state solution, CJ? What do we have right now? We got the two-state solution.
That's true.
Like, what do you think
There's
a
never
Nazi
been a
state's
one.
gonna do when they got a shorter another state where they got arms, they got power over them? Of course they're gonna implement apartheid because that's what Nazis fucking do. This is the result of the two-state solution. That's why, and I'm sure many people disagree with me on this, but decades ago there was a lot of debate between W.B. Du Bois, MLK, and leftists like two-state solution versus one-state solution. And you can make the argument that there was a period where that's a legitimate debate. We didn't know what the fuck was going to happen. People were like, maybe we should have two-state solution where A1 acknowledge A1 sovereignty. If you, after seeing the result of the two-state solution over decades, which is proven to be a failure, you still support it, just acknowledge that you want Palestinians to die quietly. But I'm sorry, I'll let it continue. There's a lot to say on this, but I think I made my points. I'll let it continue.
Rashida Tlaib released a video on Friday. I want you to watch part of it.
Mr. President, the American people are not with you on this one. We will remember in 2024.
That last screen said Joe Biden supported the genocide of the Palestinian people. I know you know the definition of genocide. It is defined as a crime committed with intent to destroy a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group. Do you think that's what Israel is doing here?
You see how she concentrated on the word intent? Because to them, that's what changes it. But if you take out intent, killing large groups of people in a particular religion or ethnicity, you're just taking out intent. It doesn't take away the atrocities. You see how they're fine? And as long as you take out the intent, we're okay with 500 Iraqi kids dying, as Madeleine Albright said. We didn't have an intent to do that, so that makes it okay to them. Nick, go ahead.
And once again, that's CNN misinformation. Demonetize these motherfuckers. Because how can you say Israel is not intending to do it when they say they're going to do it? When you had Israel officials that say if we can kill one of Hamas's commander, if 50 civilians die, that's worth it. So what do you mean there's no intent? What do words mean to you guys?
Yeah.
Like, words mean nothing to a Zionist and their supporters.
What's going on right now is a horror show. We don't have to quibble about words. Thousands of men, women, and children are being killed. It has got to end right now. And one of the things that concerns me, Donna, is there has not been enough talk about what right-wing Republicans are doing right now. They don't want any aid to go to the Palestinians. Somebody should be talking about that.
You're such
Somebody
a good
should be
guy.
talking about how Trump.
If you haven't seen with your own eyes 100% proof that this guy is now a shit lib, what does Trump has to do with this question? Republicans, I'm sorry. What
do genocide
why are
in
you
a mean
pivoting?
way.
Why are you pivoting to culture war? Why are you pivoting to red is bad to this question, Bernie Sanders? I didn't get this far in the video, Nick. Right after he said the genocide, I just stopped. So this is terrible. Let's let them finish.
Somebody should be talking about that. Somebody should be talking about how Trump wants to expel Palestinians from this country. So it's, you can disagree with Joe Biden, but on his worst day, he'll be 100 times better than where Trump and the right-wing Republicans.
So you think that Rashida Tlaib should save her ire for Trump?
So you get what he did, Nick? He gave Joe Biden all this praise because it's like, okay, establishment, I'm not going to answer that question, but I'm going to throw you this right here. He's great. I love him. That's what he just did. This guy is terrible.
And the right wing and not her fellow Democrat?
Rashida is a friend of mine. Her family comes from Palestine. I think she's been shaken, as all of us are, about what is going on right there, right now.
Yeah.
We have to address that humanitarian crisis. But if anyone thinks that Trump is going to be better than Biden on
You see
this
how he
issue
pivots
or any
back
other issue
to
for that
Trump?
matter. I think
This
they
is
are
a
sorely
fucking
mistaken.
shit lib.
And I understand that. I also understand, and I know you know that words matter. And I want to ask about what she
I
said.
don't, look, hey, look,
Well-
words matter, but what matters more, Dana, is you have a horrible humanitarian disaster that has to be dealt with right now. You call it whatever you want to call it. It has to be dealt with. Women and children cannot be bombed with 2,000-pound bombs. And we need the entire
So when
world
she
community
says from the river to the sea, when she says from the river to the sea, which the ADL says is
ADL.
anti-Semitic, she says it's aspiration.
You notice she says that? Because it's not anti-Semitic. She is saying this organization labels that anti-Semitic. She's not saying these people, man. She understands to bring up the ADL in order to label that anti-Semitic because she can't from herself say, oh, that's anti-Semitic. So let me go ahead and say these other people are saying this is anti-Semitic. And understand, this is what they conflate. This is one of the things that I hate the most about this issue. From the river to the sea thing. This is like somebody invading my house, a home invader, and me is saying from my front yard to my backyard, you're not welcome here.
Yeah.
That's like me saying that to an intruder, but you're trying to twist that to say me saying the elimination of a established government called Israel means I want to eliminate Jews is absurd. But that's
we're gonna get to that next time too. Next segment
that
too.
part. Yeah, I know you're gonna analyze this, but from the river to the sea, that's genocide. No, that's not. A country is not the same thing as people, and people. Anyway, let me let this play, man. That's one of the big things that really irks me is this from the river to the sea thing, because there's so many people when they get the chance to answer this, there are always these professional managerial class type who never have a good answer for this. They never have one because they don't think of it. They're not thinking it from a colonial settler project. That's why they don't have the right answer for that.
Yeah, the idea that we're gonna allow people who support and cheering bombing babies to tone police us is absurd. And I've seen people go along with the debate. They're like, well, actually, when we say river to the sea, why the fuck are we even acknowledging this? Like, why? Like, why do you even care? Like, people who support the state of Israel, someone who supports Zionists, I don't care what they think about me. If I say river to the sea, they think I'm saying whatever. I don't care. I'm calling for the freedom of the Palestinian people. And historically, whenever people call for the end of racism, white people felt like they was attacked. Whenever someone colonized or someone called freedom, they feel like it's a personal attack. And the idea that anyone would play along with it is hilarious to me. Like, I have done nothing but laugh at these people. But let's continue because we'll cover a little bit.
But the ADL says it is anti-Semitic. Do you want her to stop using terms like that?
Well,
and others.
You know, it's not what I want and anything else. This is what you got. President Obama just said the other day, I think quite correctly, and we all got to deal with it. This is an enormously complex issue. And slogans like the river to the sea, if that means the destruction of Israel, that's not going to work. People who are saying Israel, right or wrong, we're for you all the way, that's not going to work. This is a horrendously complex issue. You got a right-wing government in Israel, which is racist. And the people, by the way, the good news is last poll I saw only 8.
So Bernie Sanders, and I'm going to stop it right there. Bernie Sanders is saying Israel is right-wing and racist. At the same time, though that right-wing racist government is murdering kids and children, but he wants to give them more money. That's Bernie Sanders. That's the guru of the left. The one they bring on to answer from the left perspective, but just seems lately he's been just giving establishment answers.
I actually want to show you guys this after this segment.
Go ahead.